Welcome to the next episode of Café à la Mode. We're on our way to pick up Aimee Song, and here she is. Your ride is here.
So fancy seeing you here. What are you doing here? What's up? What's up? Are you just picking me up?
I am. I'm just
Where are we
picking you up.
going?
We are going to see the streets of Paris.
Okay.
How about
Are you
that?
kidnapping me? I kind of look like an escort now. Jumping into a
Darling,
random
you're
car.
far too expensive looking to be an escort.
You're the escort, honey.
I know. I love the way you reverse the roles. You know, girl on top, woman
Yes.
power. Me too.
I actually have a present for you.
You do?
So I
What
went on a
is it?
charity trip not too long ago to Kenya.
Right.
And with the mothers, like they're called mamas,
Right.
we designed these bracelets.
Beautiful.
And then all of it goes back to the moms in Kenya. So
Wow.
this is for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's
That's
called the
really,
Journey
really
bracelet.
Beautiful.
So it was a very life-changing experience and a very rewarding experience. Like a beautiful area
How
of
did it all
Kenya.
start?
I'm very involved in charity, and
Right.
because I have like such a big platform, I wanted to
Yes.
do something where I could make an impact.
Right.
And it all started with this other charity called Charity Water, where I donated my birthday. We raised about $83,000, and then we built water wells. So I went to Ethiopia and then built a bunch of water wells. And then I wanted to get involved with other charities as well.
Right.
And then discovered this company called organization. They're based out of Canada, but what they do that's amazing is they do like a social enterprise. So like, it's not about just giving money to a bunch of different people. Like,
Right.
they actually teach them a skill and train them so that they can make money themselves. And then one of them being beading.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is something that's sustainable for them to do
Absolutely,
themselves.
yeah.
which
So
is
that's
really,
why I
really
was really
important.
involved, and then it actually launches next month. Yeah, so that's for you.
Oh my gosh, I got a preview.
Yes, you're the first one who
That's
has it. Yeah,
amazing.
nobody else has it.
That's really, really
Oh,
kind
you and
of
Virgil. Virgil Abloh has it.
Oh my gosh.
I gave him one. I was like,
I feel
Virgil.
very-
Yeah.
I feel very privileged.
Hey, thank you. You look lovely. So low key all the time.
So low key.
So low key.
All this shimmer and shine. So Crazy Rich Asians. Have you seen the movie?
Absolutely, I loved it. How was it for you guys in Singapore?
You know, it was great that we finally got, I think, recognition for our part of the world, which
Yeah.
has never happened before. And I think that people finally realized we're not in China. You know, we exist, we're in Southeast Asia. Of course, it showed a side that was super glamorous and super kind of like over the top.
Yeah.
And there is that side,
Yeah.
but there's also the flip side, which is very real. And I think it just gets people to come into the country.
Yeah.
And to
Do you think the
experience it.
tourism has boomed because of the
absolutely.
show or the movie?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, and people have really been interested in our part of the world.
Yeah.
Finally, you know, it's not this sort of figment of people's imagination. You know,
Yeah.
where is Singapore? So I think that's been great. I think it also highlighted like Malaysia and the surrounding countries
Yeah.
around Singapore. So that's been great for the nation, great for the region as a whole. And I think I'm really proud of that, and I'm looking forward to see what John does with
Yeah.
the other segments that are coming out.
Oh yeah.
So dreaming big, what is your most favorite thing about Paris? You've been coming here for many years, I'm sure.
My favorite thing about Paris is obviously the city. The city, there's, no matter how, you know, like horrible you're feeling, you're in Paris. The architecture, the beautiful environment, the culture, the history, it's so rich, right? That's my favorite thing about it, just the scenery, everything about it, because really, like, you can just really be so broke, honestly, because the very first time I came here with my sister, we didn't have money. We were invited by a brand, but that was it, you know?
Right.
And so we didn't really have money, but just like walking around, you don't really need money. You just look at everything and just like take it in. That's my favorite thing about Paris.
And how do you keep yourself looking so glorious? You look like edible butter. You know, like edible butter. You know, so
Edible
good.
butter that won't give you like high cholesterol.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh my God. Today I have an amazing makeup artist. Her
Right.
name is Britt Soley. She's incredible. So she's been doing my makeup throughout this Paris Fashion Week.
And what
I'm
is the
very
one
lucky.
tip you would say to keep yourself looking so amazing like you do? Apart from having a
Celery
makeup artist.
juice. I've been
Okay.
drinking celery juice almost every single day since I've been in Paris. I even packed my own juicer. So
Right.
I have this thing called eczema, which is like a skin condition where it's like really dry. Do you have eczema?
I have
Where?
really bad eczema.
I don't see it
all my
anywhere.
joints.
Oh,
in
yeah.
all my
Oh,
joints.
yeah. So for me,
Tell me,
usually
how
it
do I-
comes out on
yeah.
my neck or like
Same here.
sometimes like forehead when it's like stress or like all around my legs.
Right.
And it's really stress related, and I'm like, for the most part, I'm a very positive person.
Right.
But also growing up in an Asian household, I don't know about you guys, because I don't know how it is in Singapore, but like in America, Asian Americans, we don't really talk about our feelings in my family. Like, my parents are very westernized because they've lived in America for over 30 years, but still we don't, like all my white friends, their family, they always talk about like issues and how they're feeling, but we don't really talk about it.
Right.
My dad, I've never heard him say I'm sad, ever. You know, like my dad's like a man, like he's like a Korean dad, proud, he's always happy, everything is always good.
Right.
But you know, inside, nothing is always, everything isn't always like, you know, bells and whistles, right?
Yeah.
People go through things, and for me too, like growing up, it was hard, so like I think I internalized that a lot. So sometimes stress, like eczema comes out when I'm really stressed. So I'll get like hives all over my body. So this Paris Fashion Week, exactly last year, a year ago, I was so stressed because of like personal things that were happening. The pressure of always, you know, being on the Fashion Week. Even though Fashion Week is so glamorous, everybody thinks it's like the best thing ever, which it is. It's amazing. It's an amazing experience. I don't take it for granted, but there is pressure, and I'm sure you understand that too. So I was just mentally not in a healthy place. So last year I kind of broke out into crazy hives. Usually I don't break out on my face, but I did. So this year I was really careful. So yeah, I've been drinking celery juice every day.
So that's your number one remedy for anything? For
no,
anything to do with...
It's very new.
Okay.
Me drinking celery juice is very new. There's this guy, his Instagram handle is @medicalmedium. I've never met him, but he was saying like celery juice basically cures a lot of things because it's anti-inflammatory. Also, it cleanses, detoxes, so it's really good for you to drink it first thing in the morning. So I've been doing this for probably 8 days, and my eczema cleared up.
Really?
Yeah, and yeah, it's not bullshit. But also, there are other things because drinking something healthy in the morning kind of forces you to make the right choices throughout the day, right?
Okay.
So, I mean, I just had a giant bowl of French fries.
As you do in Paris.
But it's all about moderation, right? Like, I want to eat healthy, but I'll also indulge into like gelato and French fries and tiramisu cake.
You've been here the entire sort of 10 days. What has been your favorite show so far? My
favorite show, hands down, Chloe. Natasha Ramsey Levi for Chloe is my favorite thing that's ever happened to fashion.
Wow.
I have this story. So my very first Paris show, I snuck into Louis Vuitton and it was Nicolas Guesquier's first Louis Vuitton show.
Right.
I've been a huge fan of Nicolas Guesquier since his Balenciaga days.
Right.
So Natasha Ramsey Levi was working with him since Balenciaga.
Yes.
Then went to Vuitton.
Yes.
And then now is a creative director for Chloe. And I love what she's doing to the house because I've always loved Chloe. Growing up, Chloe was my favorite brand that I could not afford.
Why?
I thought it was just so feminine. I loved all the advertisements. And you know, talking about manifesting, I would rip out the picture of like Anya Rubik and I think Julia, I forgot her last name, but Anya Rubik.
Julia Steiner.
Yes, Steiner, yeah. They were always like the Chloe girls, right? And
with
Inez,
the floating hair.
and Inez and Binu would shoot them.
Yes.
And that was like always in my bed growing up, like in high school and college days. And then one day I met Inez. She messaged me. She's like, I would love to meet you. Both Inez and Binu, we had lunch, and now like we're friends. They would invite me to their house in Soho.
Amazing.
And now I get to work with Chloe. I'm like one of the Chloe girls, and it's just like a pinch me moment, right? Because I grew up admiring these people and their work and their creations and their craft, and to be in a industry, not in the same industry, but just also like they know who I am, you know? Like, I don't know, it's so weird. Or Natasha Ramsey Levi always messages me like, thank you, Aimee, you know,
that's amazing.
Thanks for coming to the show. I've been to Japan with them numerous times. Like, I do things with them, and I can't believe it. It's just so cool.
That's incredible.
Yeah, but I really like what she's doing to the house because I feel like the feminine Chloe girl is now like stronger, kind of like a warrior, and I mean, just women designing women's clothes.
Yes, of course.
I kind of like that. Yeah,
thing. Has there been any trends out there that has happened over the past sort of month or so that you've really liked or looking forward to
Fashion
wearing?
trends?
Yes.
I think a lot of, so for fall, winter, I mean, Singaporeans are going to hate this because Singapore is such a hot and warm country.
They travel.
They travel. Yeah, you guys are crazy rich Asians. You guys,
my God.
yeah, I mean, like you buy all those nice coats, you got to travel,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
So a lot of like turtleneck situation, like how you're doing your thing where like you're layering your turtleneck with your shirt.
Yes.
I see a lot of that. So many brands are doing that. It's all about the layering. So I like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you could take away 3 things and only 3 things to a desert island, what would it be?
Moisturizer. Is it the desert or is it an island or a deserted island?
A deserted island.
Okay. I just feel like I don't need anything.
Nothing,
Isn't
just
that weird?
moisturizer and that's it?
Yeah, I think I would need moisturizer, but then again, I feel like in the deserted island, I'm like, I'm just gonna be a free spirit. Maybe some clothes to cover myself up just in case, but I really feel like I don't need anything.
Right.
I don't know, the older I get, I just feel like you need less things.
Okay.
Do you feel that way?
I wish I could be that way.
Like as materialistic as we can be, you know, because we work in fashion.
You know, I don't even like the word materialistic.
Yeah.
I think we're just consumers.
We're consumers.
You know, because materialistic to me has a negative connotation. So I think we love to consume.
We do love to consume.
You know, so I think it's about cutting back, right?
Yeah. I don't know, like when I was little and growing up, I always felt like if I had the next handbag, if I had a house, if I had a boyfriend, if I had if I go to Paris, if I go this, I would be happy. Have it all. Like I would be so happy.
Right.
And then once I got it all, I felt like I was still looking for and searching for more.
Right.
And then that made me realize it really took me a while, and I'm still in the process of like understanding it, but it made me realize like it's not about getting outside things, because when your inside is so happy and fulfilled, you don't need outside things to make you happy. They're just perks and extras.
When did you get this sense of realization about, you know, it's from the inside, it's from within yourself?
Probably like last year.
Okay.
I mean, I kind of thought about it, but it didn't really affect me so much.
Right.
But like last year, I started doing like therapy, really taking care of my mental health, and I thought it was so important because I have such a big platform, and I wanted to, if I'm giving somebody advice, I wanted to give them really good advice.
Right.
Because everybody goes through something, right? And I just wanted to help people, and I wanted to help myself, and I just realized like, yeah, just traveling around the world doesn't necessarily mean you have a happy life. Because if your insides are not happy and whole and fulfilled, then no matter what you consume, you're still going to be unhappy.
Correct.
Right? So yeah, it's a work in progress.
Wow.
But I'm like in a really good place right now.
Okay. So how did this whole platform actually start? Like how did Song of Style start?
Song of Style started when she was 19 or 20 years old.
I love the way you talk about yourself in the third person, you know. Song of Style started when she, I love it. No, it's great.
She was working 2 part-time jobs at a retail store, going to school full-time, studying interior architecture, and then I was so drained because I was constantly working and going to school, and art supplies are very expensive. And I went to a private school, so it's like the tuition was insane. So I didn't really have the American college experience. So American college experience is like just partying, going wild, you know, like everybody just like watching like those, you see those American movies, American Pie, or like
scary.
Yeah, like everybody's just having fun, having boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever. And I didn't have that experience because I was constantly working. So yeah, I started a blog. And then I wanted to have internet friends because I didn't have real life college friends. I didn't have time to make friends. And then eventually that blog, Song of Style, you know, became like who I am now.
Yes, manifested, as you said. If you could give 3 top tips for a perfect Instagram post, what would it be?
I think the biggest thing is not obsessing over perfection, what is perfect, because before I was very obsessed with getting that perfect photo. I'm gonna wake up at 5 a.m., take a photo right by the Eiffel Tower so there are nobody in my photo. But think that's not realistic. And then now the industry is so saturated. Think about how many accounts you follow. How many Eiffel Tower photos have you seen? How many breakfast photos have you seen? Like everything is so planted that I feel like the audience the people who follow you, they've seen it already. So
Right.
it's no longer like
New.
authentic. Yeah, it's not fun anymore. It's
Right.
not new anymore.
Right.
So people don't get excited, right?
Okay.
So I feel like that doesn't work anymore.
Okay. That's a
'Cause
great point.
Yeah, I think everybody's so obsessed with like, I need to invest in a DSLR, like an expensive camera.
Yes.
I have to do like, put some macaroons, champagne bottle,
Yes.
everything has to be perfect. Light
Yes.
has to be perfect. But I think those days have gone.
Okay.
I think the industry's too saturated. So if you really
Okay.
want to make it as an influencer in this industry, I think first of all, you have to have a unique point of view. Everybody has a unique point of view. Don't
Right.
see what other people are doing.
Right.
And I tell this to myself as well too, because every time I
Okay.
look at what other influencers are doing, I
Right.
get affected. I'm like, oh, she did that already. I don't want to do it.
Got it.
Or I'm like, oh, she's doing it better. I feel defeated.
Okay.
Sometimes that comes out too. So just having a unique point of view, what makes you special, you know? And then just shooting it, just that's it. Like before, if you had asked me this question 3 years ago, I would have given you like an answer of, I mean, I wrote a book.
Yes, exactly.
A New York Times bestselling
Yes.
book about how to take the perfect Instagram photo.
Right.
But I've evolved as a person, and actually Instagram, the whole scene has changed so much.
Right.
It's just so saturated.
How do you keep it fresh though? How do you keep it current? How do you keep your audience, which is quite a mature audience as
Yeah.
well, because you started this quite a long time
Yeah.
ago. How do you keep them interested?
I think because I'm evolving
Right.
too. So I did those perfect photos
Okay.
before it became too saturated.
Right.
Now I'm just a little bit more real.
Okay.
I don't mind talking about, you know, sometimes I have anxiety issues. Sometimes I
Right.
don't feel great. I don't mind talking about it because my life is
Okay.
not perfect.
Right.
Nobody's life is perfect.
Right.
So I talk about those type of issues. I do a lot of videos.
Yes.
I think I just evolve, and I'm not chasing after what's next. I'm
Okay.
just really trying to stay true to myself, which is actually the hardest thing to do, to stay true to yourself and not get affected by outside voices and not get affected by what other people are doing.
Right.
When am I going to be in the cover of
I
Harper's
know. I
Bazaar,
have to get you.
Singapore?
Well, needed to get hold of you first.
Singapore, please bring me over.
We got to try to bring you over.
Such a great magazine. It is,
Thank
really.
you. Thank you.
Better if Aimee Song's face is here.
No
So
stress,
humble,
no
right?
pressure, no pressure.
So humble, huh?
No, I love it. In 5 words, how would you describe your personal style?
My personal style, polished, chill. That's a lot, though, 5 words. Loves boots.
Okay.
And then I wouldn't say trendy because I don't like chasing trends.
Okay. And that's from experience, or that's from just growing up and just recognizing what works for your body?
I think both. I think I realize kind of staying true to my own personal style is very
Right.
much more important than trying to chase the trends.
Got it.
Unless I was like a supermodel and I could try everything.
Right.
I think it works, but then again, also it's exhausting, constantly
Right.
chasing trends. I like to try new things though.
What do you think's your best asset?
My personality.
I agree for sure. You know, that's the funny thing as an editor, because I have access to so many trends out there, and I actually love chasing
Trying
or
things.
following
Yeah.
different trends. I totally adore it.
Yeah.
I totally like, you know, when cowboy boots are in,
Yeah.
I want to get cowboy
Yeah.
boots.
I
you
think
know?
it's so fun, right?
Yeah, it is really fun. And
But
this,
then again, you like to translate it into your own way, no? Or do you like to wear the whole runway
no,
look?
I think definitely to translate it, because, you know, as I'm not a model either, so, you know, I'm not 6'2". For me, it is exciting to try different things all the time.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that, you
Yeah.
know, you try to distance and there's...
I think the thing is, if there's something that's popular that's happening, I want to translate it into my own. Like, I
Right.
won't do a head to toe, like, all trendy situation,
Right,
you know?
right.
Like, cowboy boots, I mean, like, when I saw it on the runway, I'm like, ooh, cowboy boots.
Right.
But I'm going to wear it before it becomes mainstream.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I want to wear it in my own way. You
Okay.
know? With everything else, like even when I'm doing like power shoulders,
Right.
80s, you know, I want to wear it in my own way.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And what's your own way of wearing 80s power shoulders?
Ooh, I love pairing like 80s like strong pieces with like a mini skirt, you know,
Right.
like playing with silhouettes.
Okay.
I love that. Yeah.
Okay. What's the best piece of fashion advice you've ever been given? And by whom?
Actually, it's not really a fashion advice, but from Diane,
Okay.
Diane
Right.
von Furstenberg. Yes, I call her by her first name.
I love that.
Sometimes we like call each other on Sunday mornings. It's like a pinch me moment. So she wrote the foreword for my first book, and we've maintained a good friendship. And she wants it's her famous phrase, but she says it to me all the time. Right. Darling.
Yes.
Just be you. I like what you're doing. Just be the woman you want to be. Be the person you want to be. So I always think about that, and just not in fashion, but I always think about like when I'm making certain choices, am I becoming the person I want to be? Right. You know, am I true to myself? I think about that a lot.
Okay. And you know, this thing that you said right at the start of our conversation, you know, about manifesting. So if you take it and hold it, it's almost like a, you know, Marie Kondo moment. You just hold it and
does it spark joy?
Does it? Yeah, exactly. Does it spark joy? And is this going to propel me forward? Then it does.
Do you believe in manifestation?
You know, being brought up Catholic, being brought up Chinese, being brought up in an Asian household, and on top of that, you know, I come from a Peranakan household, and that's very idiosyncratic to Singapore. It's this kind of mix of Chinese, Malay, Indian culture into one. Manifestation is something that we all do in different forms.
Okay.
You know, whether we pray, whether we put offerings, whether we tell our grandmother or our mother, this is what we want and you got to help us along the way. I think Asian families actually do manifest a lot of things, and we actually physically show it, you know, in a different way to a Western person perhaps, because there won't be offerings in the house. So I think Chinese or Asian culture, manifestation does happen. You know, if we wish it hard enough, it will happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only do you have to wish it, but you have to act upon it, right?
Yes.
Every little step is working towards that bigger goal. And if you really want something so bad, it's gonna happen.
So what's the best fashion advice you've ever given someone?
You just gotta feel confident and comfortable in the outfit you're wearing. Because I've worn outfits where I was not comfortable in, and everybody else is, you look so good, wear it, and I just do not feel comfortable. I think it shows. Okay. Yeah, in photos, the way I act, I don't feel confident. Right. And I think confidence is like number one to anything, to finishing an outfit, right? Everybody could be making fun of you, but if you feel so confident in your look and you're owning that look, then automatically you're so cool. Exactly. Right? So I think that's the most important thing, feeling confident in your look. Right.
What's the biggest misconception that people have about you and your job as an influencer?
I think the biggest misconception about being an influencer or myself is that we just travel around the world and do nothing. That we're not adding any value to society, when in fact we are. Because of the influencers, think about how the industry has changed, the fashion industry has changed tremendously. The way people buy has changed, right? Before, it was always like through the magazines. Yes. And now, influencers have so much like value, you know, like to them, that consumers are looking towards influencers to see what's the next coolest thing. Right. And also just finding out about certain things, like let's say like even the juice trend. I've been getting so many like personal DMs and tag photos about the celery juice situation. Right. Otherwise people wouldn't have found out about it, you know? Okay. So like we work really hard. I know so many influencers that work so hard on creating content, trying to stay true to themselves. So I think the biggest misconception is that we don't do anything and we just take pretty photos. But taking pretty photos is hard too. It's a lot of work. You try it. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
It's true. You know? It's true.
I think that's the biggest misconception. I think the other thing is that we don't like each other. You know, like that a lot of them are like fake friends. And I could only speak about my own personal experience, but because of the person that I am, I don't have a lot of friends, but I have a lot of, few very great friends. So yeah, I don't have a lot of friends, but I have a small group of great influencer friends. Right. That are so nice, so kind, so supportive. So I think it's so easy to just pit women against women. I don't know, like just the media, the way how our history is has become I don't know, people are always just pitting women against each other. But actually there's a lot of support happening in the industry. So I think that's another big misconception.
I want to walk with you.
Oh honey, you want to walk and get rained on? This mascara is not waterproof. It's gotta last all night. What's the biggest misconception about you?
The biggest misconception about me is that, you know, all editors are really nasty. All editors sit in an ivory tower and dictate. And I think it is actually experiences like this with Café Le Mode where I sit and I talk and I have conversations and we laugh and we cry and, you know, we do silly things. I think that's making it very real.
But do you think it's because you are also like the younger generation of editors? Because I think in some, like I know so many great editors, like the younger new generation of editors that are the most amazing people, but the older generation of editors, I feel like there was some kind of truth to Devil Wears Prada.
I don't know whether it's the new wave or just the way that I've been taught or the way that I've been brought up. I think that I've had such horrendous editors who used to really bully me.
Yeah, so because you're the new generation.
And because of that, I told myself I would never be that kind of editor, you know, when I get to that position. And I've always wanted to be an editor all my life. I also believe that the environment has changed so much. You can't, oh my gosh, it's a rainbow.
Oh my gosh, that is so beautiful.
That is unbelievable.
We have to walk. What has been your proudest moment as an editor?
My proudest moment as an editor is when I see one of my team members doing really well or getting an award or getting recognition for what they've achieved. I've also started this program called Harper's Bazaar New Gen Fashion Award.
Okay.
And it's about giving a platform to young designers. Very similar to like the LVMH prize.
Okay. And are these like Singaporean designers?
These are not only Singaporean designers, they're designers, young student designers from all parts of Asia, from India, from Malaysia in the past, from Thailand, from Indonesia, from Vietnam, and giving them a platform to actually win a master's degree program at the Institute of Marangoni. So, and money as well. So that's really, that I'm very proud about because that's really about giving back.
Yeah, and then I'm sure like the logistics was hard to like create something like that and to actually make it happen.
Yes, it's really, really tough.
I think it's so cute when older ladies are taking, like look how she's posing.
With
she
the
is
finger.
So adorable. Like she's so cute. Beautiful.
We can't even mimic that because that would be very wrong.
So cute.
Super cute.
Like, what was the hardest part about being an editor? Or what is the hardest part now that the industry is changing so much?
I think the hardest part about being an editor is making your platforms, whether it's print, whether it's social media, whether it's digital, making it relevant for the audience out there. And you have to constantly change and adapt and to be fast and to enjoy it and to do it authentically. That's the really, really difficult thing. And of course, all of us are working more and more so with clients, one-on-one. And how do you do that without selling out? You know, that's a really tough thing, which I think you face all the time as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, what's your biggest challenge?
My biggest challenge is as my platform grows and I have a bigger audience and I get to work with my dream brands, like it's my dream. It's like how I make a living too, to work with these brands. But sometimes the audience doesn't like advertisements, right? So like the core audience understands that I'm working with them because I genuinely like the brand and like they're so happy for me. Like they're so genuinely happy for me that I get to work with these brands. But there are certain audience that are like, oh, why are you doing an ad? They don't understand because I'm a real person. They don't understand that that's how I have to do it. That's how it works. That's your living. That's my living, So I think that's like the hard part. That's a challenge. And also the market is becoming saturated.
Completely. So
it's hard to have your own unique point of view. Or stay authentic. That's the hard part. So I struggle with it sometimes. And I think I'm sure a lot of influencers or people who are about to start their social media career feel the same way. How do you stand out and how do you create your own voice or point of view that's uniquely yours? Yeah. And then just like the other thing is just like comparing myself. I think social media makes it so easy.
People always compare though, right?
Yeah. So I think just trying not to compare myself and just understanding that I'm special too.
You are very special, my lovely honey pot.
I don't know, it's so hard to really like not compare yourself to other people's success.
Right.
And then, yeah, I think that's the hardest part.
Why do you think there's so many successful Asian influencers all around the world, and a lot of them are actually Asian girls?
It's surprising, right?
Yeah,
there are a lot
so
of
many of them are Asian girls.
I
like
think
from all
Asians
parts
are
of the
just
world.
having a moment. I think we were always around, but we were always just in the background.
Right.
We were never given a voice or a platform. We were always, even in media, we were always the friend, the smart assistant,
with
the
glasses.
smart doctor. You know, we were always like the research person, in shows and movies, or the hot fighter. You know. But then again, I think just the landscape, we are just so much more than that, you know? And I think there were always a lot of successful Asian women and influencers around. We're just having a moment where our voices are finally just being heard.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, we're tired of just being in the background. I think that's what it is.
That's great. On that note, oh my gosh, it's raining crazily. Shall we rush back to the car?
Before I have black marks coming down on my face.
Thank you for being part of Café La Mode, my darling.
Of course. Thank you for having me on your cover.
Naughty, naughty, naughty.